Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Iranian officials are complaining about what they see as the slow pace of sanctions relief and the lack of additional foreign investment that they expected to see as a result of the nuclear deal. Now, if Iran complies with its obligations under the nuclear deal, they will get the sanctions relief that they bargained for. But Iran has a long history of money laundering, terrorist financing, corruption, which are among the reasons that Iran remains a pariah state in the eyes of the international community. Ms. Rosenberg, instead of blaming the United States for its failure to emerge from economic isolation, what steps should Iran be taking if it wants to become a responsible member of the international financial and commercial system?
Thank you for the question. To begin with, it could stop funding terrorism.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
And additionally, use its newly passed criminalization of terrorism law to prosecute cases of this. Working with the IMF and the FATF to improve controls and risks in its system related to money laundering, terrorist financing. It must address a variety of prudential risks related to capital adequacy, corporate governance, tax and financial disclosure, and furthermore, on a political level, to cease engaging in the kind of provocative regional behaviors that are a disincentive to those who would invest in the jurisdiction.
All right. Well, thank you. That's very helpful. You know, that's a long laundry list of reasons why companies are still reluctant to invest in Iran right now that have nothing to do with the nuclear deal. Iran is ranked 130th on the World Transparency International's Corruption Perceptions Index. It's ranked 118th on the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index. It's ranked 108th on the International Property Rights Index. Ms. Rosenberg, if Iran complies with the nuclear deal, gets the sanctions relief it bargained for under that deal, but fails to address systemic problems under these key economic metrics, is it realistic for them to expect to be reintegrated into the international financial system or to see serious and sustained economic growth in the country?
I think, as has been pointed out, that there's potential for growth even under these difficult circumstances. However, few would believe that they are in any way living up to the potential that geological assets, a well-educated, youthful population could provide if they were actually managing their risks.
Well, that's very helpful because, you know, it's no secret that there are some people in Congress who are committed to seeing the Iran nuclear agreement fail at any price. And we're hearing a lot of rumbling from them about holding up sanctions relief, even if Iran complies with the deal. Now, that might be good politics for some senators, but let's be clear. Such a move will play right into the hands of hardliners in Iran who want to blame the West for their economic woes. Here's the truth. We could give Iran all of the relief contemplated under the nuclear agreement tomorrow, and Iran would still need to implement significant structural reforms and change its regional behavior in order to attract the sustained investment and reintegrate itself into the international financial and commercial system. Iran must implement serious structural reforms, crack down on money laundering, as you said, and stop sponsoring terrorism. Our job here is to keep the pressure on the Iranians to make sure that those changes are made and not give them an excuse to avoid making those changes. Our job is to make sure that if Iran rejects comprehensive reforms, then it has no one to blame for its economic troubles other than itself. Now, there's one more thing I'd like to ask you, and that is Adam Zubin is the acting Undersecretary for Terrorism and Financial Crimes at Treasury. He's in charge of enforcing our sanctions against countries like Iran and targeting the financial networks of terrorist groups like ISIS. It has been more than a year since Mr. Zubin was nominated to this position, and the Republicans who control the Senate have still not held a vote to confirm him. Ms. Rosenberg, given the critical importance of Mr. Zubin's work to our national security, is there any credible reason for Republican senators to continue blocking his confirmation?
I think there is no credible reason to block his nomination's confirmation, and in fact, it undermines broad national security interests in a variety of areas: proliferation, terrorist financing, the beneficial ownership and CDD rule that was mentioned earlier on the panel. If we do not confirm, if he is not confirmed into his position,
the delay undermines our national security.
I agree.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.